Hello, my name is Karin Edebo. I work as a product marketing manager at Tele2 IoT. And in this breakout session, we will speak about IoT, sustainability, and smart cities. Very welcome to you all. With this rather wide topic, we have visitors interested in sustainability, smart city, IoT, hopefully all of it. And I hope this will cater to your interest. But since we are in different maturity levels in regards to what we know of IoT, we have to take first things first. And at the end of the session, we will be able to take your questions in a discussion forum, but you can already now start typing them in the chat, and we will be looking into that and responding as we go. First, a brief introduction of IoT. I'd like to tell you what we're doing in Tele2 IoT and also what we're not doing. IoT is the ability to understand what's happening by collecting information from sensors, then filtering that data so you can make informed decisions. And this description of understanding the data from the sensors is valid whether you're talking about anything from your personal fitness tracker or large construction equipment to trash bins or pollution, as we will see a little later in this session. And with that said, IoT is creating a lot of efficiency gains. Instead of using manpower, our customers are using sensors in a device where they install a SIM card or an eSIM to communicate the data in the way they chose to set it up. So when you send a text message to remotely control the heater in your summer cottage, you are using IoT, since that is a thing and it has internet. And when your oven at home is controlled and connected to the Wi-Fi, you can communicate with it as well, and it is IoT. But those are not examples we will bring up today. That's not what we do at Tele2 IoT. So we are working with enterprises and organizations who are using IoT for assembling data generated often from thousands of devices, and where there's a need to control these devices and their life cycles. So whether you want to save money by saving resources such as manpower, or if you want to create new revenue streams, some also use it for the greater good. And that's where sustainability, the topic of today, comes in. Sustainability is one of the reasons why I chose to work with IoT. And we often talk about saving the planet when we talk about sustainability. But let's agree to this definition, the first one found on Google. Sustainability means meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. It has three main pillars: economic, environmental, and social. And these three pillars are informally referred to as people, planet, and profits. And the efficiency gains that we get from IoT caters both to people, planets, and profits. So there's always a financial model behind the investments, and that's what we're going to talk to Stina Strömberg today from the city of Gothenburg. Hi, Stina. Really great to have you here. Welcome. Could you please tell us about your role in the city of Gothenburg?
Hi, Karin. Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here. I work as a project manager at Intraservice, which is an organization providing common IT services within the city of Gothenburg. With 56,000 employees, the city of Gothenburg is one of Sweden's largest employers.
And developed cities around the world have shown how data from IoT devices in different domains can connect the dots together to create an accurate picture of a city, and by that be more beneficial to the citizens and give the right prerequisites for data-driven innovation. What is the status for the city of Gothenburg here?
We are considered to be among the early adopters of IoT within the public sector of Sweden. The project we are working with and what we will now be talking about will address questions such as IoT sensors, infrastructure, data models, security, platform, and data sharing, both open and secure. We are also collaborating with other cities and regions in Sweden.
And there for sure must be a policy for how to handle digitalization.
Yes, we do have a policy for digitalization, and it says, among other things, the City of Gothenburg's digital services must be available and inclusive, as well as easy to use and relevant. The City of Gothenburg produces and makes information available in the form of open data that is accessible, promotes innovation and societal benefits.
Then what about needs? What are the basic needs that you have defined before starting this project up?
Obviously, we are going to gather a lot of data. Therefore, the basic need is primarily an IoT platform. It allows us to be connected to a city information platform for further use of extracting the data and interpret it, which generally is a prerequisite for smart cities.
What will you use the data for?
IoT data in the form of sensor data allows us to confirm our view of the world and be able to react in a better way, especially when we can combine data from several sources and share them. An IoT platform makes that possible. In the long run, we can even predict how the city's resources are used, when it deviates or detects when conditions have changed.
Interesting. It would be even better if we also could have some real use cases of what you potentially can be doing.
We can get an indication that our elderly are well by knowing lights are being turned on and off in different rooms. The toilet is being flushed, the door to the refrigerator is open and closed, the lock to the door is open and closed, etc. Adding sensors to these lights, toilets and door locks, as well as connecting these, help us to know that the elderly are active and living a normal life. If something deviates from this pattern, we can follow up if they need assistance.
And that's great because I know of alarms for the elderly that they can be pushing in case of an accident. But here it's not intrusive at all. It's just sort of following their daily life and reporting once something deviates. That must be a much better feeling for those elderly.
Yeah.
Next example, trash cans.
Trash cans around the city are often emptied after a timetable, regardless of their status. Sensors can be used to indicate when they are full, meaning we will reduce overflow, contributing to a nicer environment during high season and saving resources during low season.
Right, and I've also heard about sensors who can smell if there's too much garbage without being too much garbage, but very smelly garbage. That could potentially be something for it as well.
Yeah.
And then pollution.
Sensors are already used today to measure air pollution and water quality in the city of Gothenburg. This information is automatically sent to national authorities as well as being available as open data. This was previously done by hand, requiring someone to drive around to read off the instruments. By automating this, we not only save manpower, but also reduce emissions from vehicles.
Great, thank you. I always think it helps with real examples. All this data will potentially become very useful, as you said. And here we're seeing a picture of a smart city in bloom, where there's so much activities going on where IoT is an enabler. But like you said, the smart homes, the waste management, the air pollution, and the water quality are things that you either are already up and running or that you will be able to do among all these other things that must come at a later stage. But I think for those here today interested in a smart city, this is the image for you. Please tell us more about this project that you are running right now, a proof of concept, right? You can't start all of what we just mentioned up at once.
No, we can't. But for the POC, it's important to connect and collect information in a simple and secure way, as well as understand the needs of the business areas. As a result of IoT, new working practices may need to be established. Our next step is to further develop a platform the city information platform, where the information is gathered in a structured and useful way as common information from the city. In addition, there is already a desire today to be able to exchange sensitive IoT data between companies and administrations with the help of IoT via an information platform. As we said, there are already IoT use cases in place within the city in specific areas like measuring air pollution and water quality, but until now there hasn't been any centralized way to integrate or manage IoT devices. IoT has grown to a level where there is a need to coordinate, consolidate, and offer IoT services to the entire city.
So how do you secure that this platform will be beneficial for the citizens?
We have established a collaboration group with representatives from various administrations and companies in the city. The collaboration group will help to develop goals for the project and prioritize deliveries during the project. We will also collaborate with the Consumer and Citizen Service Administration to identify services in the city information platform that are desired by the business community and citizens. The scope of IoT and the platform makes a single delivery impossible. Therefore, we will implement this step by step within focus areas with agile working methods.
Oh, interesting. Then what about that agile step-by-step approach to accomplish this? What is the scope and how much will you be able to do when starting this up? Considering again, you have all the high ambitions and all the use cases you mentioned.
Step 1 means that we set up a test environment as a tool to learn more about IoT and how we should work with infrastructure, data models, security, platform, and sensors. In the test environment, we will use test cases identified in the Sustainable Smart Parks project, which is a collaboration with Johannaberg Science Park and the city. The test cases are automatic measurement of bathing water temperatures, soil moisture sensors for establishment of newly planted trees. At the end of step 1, we will do a retrospective where we will gather our lessons learned and requirements in the field to decide how we proceed to step 2. In step 2, the test environment is phased out and we then make, based on the decisions in step 1, in implementation.
And both of these cases, they are really good examples of sustainability.
Yes, the issue of resources is increasingly important in our society, so are parks and nature for cities. A good work-life balance as well as sustainability is a part of Gothenburg's identity. It will therefore be important to develop smart, simple and efficient technologies that utilizes resources and supports living conditions for humans, plants and animals. Efficient use of water and other resources are important for park and landscaping, and so is the visitor experience.
And also the human factor of the employees of the city.
Right. The employees in the city's operations have a high and stressful workload. A higher degree of digitalization would mean a greater opportunity for relief, freeing up time for other more important activities and reducing stress.
But then again, why would you install sensors in the soil around the trees?
Well, using sensors in landscaping creates an opportunity to go from schedule to demand-driven care, and thereby we save both time and money. In public activities, this means that tax funds can be used for other welfare services.
Awesome. And technology-wise, what can you tell us?
The technology is relatively simple with inexpensive battery-powered sensors that communicate wirelessly. The sensors have a lifespan of up to 10 years. The sensors have the capacity to generate large amount of data, which provides completely new possibilities. As we touched upon before, data from various sources enables a proactive approach, which means more efficient management of the city's resources, such as park bathing areas, squares and playgrounds.
Yes, this technology is actually very new. Previously, also in IoT, the batteries got too big to be financially sustainable. And now, with the new technologies, this is actually possible to have devices living for, well, almost 10 years. What more about technology?
From a technical perspective, connectivity is particularly interesting, as in combination with the upcoming 5G network, NB-IoT and LTE-M, and the LoRaWAN network. These technologies enable easy use of different types of sensors. Evaluating the technical solutions based on open source standards advocated by EU with strong links to smart cities will be central. This will lay the foundation for a new technical infrastructure that the whole city can take advantage of. Here we are working with our telematics framework agreement partner Tele2 with connectivity questions within the mobile network.
Yes, we're happy for that. Good. Let's get back to the agile way of work.
In the project, we have an ambition to test new innovative technology to evaluate different types of sensors and connectivity to see how well they work in practice. We want to see what benefits there are with different types of connectivity, sensor data management, data sharing management, and perhaps most importantly, new ways of working to be able to take part in the new technology. So this is not just about technology, but very much about business development as well.
Exactly. I think that's my main reason why IoT is so exciting. Even though it is tech and tech is the enabler, but to me the interesting part is the business angle. So how do you share your findings?
In our tests, we will work with use cases that describes the benefits that can be achieved and applied in more cities in addition to the city of Gothenburg. And we have, among other things, started a collaboration with the city's administration for parks and nature.
Great. So if you could dive just a little deeper in those real use cases that you're up to. Let's take the example of soil moisture sensors when caring for newly planted trees.
Sure. The Park and Nature Administration in the city of Gothenburg is responsible for 1,200 trees in the establishment phase. These are watered at a frequency of once a week for annual trees, once every 2 weeks for 2-year-old trees, and once every 3 weeks for 3-year-old trees. The water consumption is about 250 liters per irrigation occasion and tree. This is an enormous amount of water per year that is used to irrigate newly planted trees. In this use case, we want to test whether sensors can be used to go from frequency controlled to demand controlled irrigation. If the soil has the right level of moisture, it does not need to be watered. It is assumed that this leads to a more resource-efficient management, where a smaller amount of water is used, and which in turn also leads to reduced emissions as the number of irrigation opportunities becomes fewer. This will also avoid trees dying in the establishment phase, which is a big problem today.
Great problem to solve. And I think it's getting repeated, but I think it's good with that repetition to go from frequency controlled to demand controlled. IoT can really enable that. Which effects do you then predict?
Resource efficient management, less water consumption, reduced emissions and fewer trees dying in the establishment phase.
Yay! And then what about the use case of automatic measurement of bathing water temperature?
The Park and Nature Administration in the city of Gothenburg manages 25 outdoor baths, both sea and lake baths. At present, the bathing water temperature at the bathing sites is measured manually several times during the summer season, and the information is also updated manually in digital channels for visitors to take part in. So far, the measurements have only been made during the summer season. Bathing water temperature is a service of great interest and is expected more and more today, even all year round, now that winter bathing is becoming increasingly popular. We want to go from manual to automatic reading of the bathing water temperature to enable efficient service and reduce work tasks as well as the number of trips for staff, which would also mean an environmental benefit. The data collected must be made available via the City of Gothenburg's portal for open data so that other actors can use the information. The idea is also that the information can be retrieved automatically for different apps so that the bathing place visitors can take part of the information in a simple way.
This is so cool. And which effects do you predict here?
Resource efficient care, good service to citizens throughout the year, reduced emissions, and fewer tasks for already burdened staff.
Awesome. I know you are in the middle of starting up step 1. So which questions are you considering at the moment?
In this sub-project, we have many questions to answer. How large quantities of sensors can be handled in practice, what new ways of working must be implemented, and what benefits can be created for both the environment and the city in the form of saved working hours. The result of this can lead to other cities being able to justify the implementation of sensors in their environments and take part in the data the project produces.
Yes, these other cities must be very appreciative that you lead the way, share your findings. It's so smart use of all our tax funds. And which challenges do you see?
This is new to us. We have not done this before, and it's difficult to find people with competence in the area. We are all beginners and will certainly make some mistakes, but we will have to learn along the way. It is a very large project with many stakeholders. Then we have the security and information classification, GDPR, that is also a challenge. Some data is sensitive, others is not. And data models, there are both common and standardized ones. Some administrations have already started. How do we cooperate with them in the best way?
Thank you so much for sharing. I think it sounds you have it all under control. You will for sure manage how to cooperate with everyone concerned. And I personally believe it is fantastic that IoT can help us all, both save the planet and creating a better life quality for citizens, as you are describing. I am sure you will succeed. Thank you so much, Stina.
Thank you.
And with this real case, we hope you all got inspired out there. Now it is up to you. IoT is a journey. We say that a lot in Tele2 IoT. And obviously at Tele2 IoT, we want to be your partner when you're starting off this journey. But before you take off, you have to know what you wish to accomplish. Are you going to save money by less manpower? Or are you getting new revenue streams? Or are you enabling IoT for the greater good? Perhaps you can save some money as well. For you all ladies listening in, it makes a lot of sense to try and figure out how you in your organization or the organization you aim up to be in can benefit from IoT. Please give it a thought, and also please don't hesitate to reach out and connect if you want a further discussion. Now for the question session that will follow, we also have Stina's colleague Noel Aldrit with us, and they will both be able to answer to your questions about the IoT in the city of Gothenburg, and I will stay to answer to the questions of IoT in general. Thank you so much for listening.